the White House is telling the press that the president has a lot of ability to lower prices. Watch this.
He'll continue to prove them all wrong when it comes to lowering cost for the American people. When you look at his economic policy, lowering costs for the American people is something that is at the center of that, is a priority for him, and he'll continue to certainly do that.
Yeah, it's actually not a priority if they continue to spend money, because all of the spending has led to 40-year high inflation. The New York Fed survey finds that a consensus is saying inflation will be higher a year from now, at up to 4.7% versus 4.2%. These are the expectations from this Fed survey. The first serious increase since October. We'll get the March Consumer Price Index out tomorrow morning and the Producer Price Index out on Thursday. Retail sales on Friday. And joining me right now is Missouri Congressman, Chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, Jason Smith. Mr. Chairman, it's great to have you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
It's great to be with you, Maria.
What do you say about inflation? What is the best lever to pull to get inflation back on track after all of these mistakes made by the Federal Reserve?
It's pretty simple. It's to do opposite of what President Biden and his administration's been doing. You have to stop this reckless spending. We've seen over the last 2 years, they've added $10 trillion in increase of new spending, which has led to the highest inflation in 40 years. When you travel this country, Maria, and talk to American workers and families and farmers, they'll tell you this historic inflation, these high interest rates, and the help wanted signs that's littered across every small business in downtown America is tough in Biden's economy. But it's a direct result of his tax and spending policies that this administration continues to push. And they just doubled down with the president's most recent budget, $4.7 trillion in tax increases, trillions of dollars in new spending. That's the wrong recipe for America, Maria.
I want to get your take on this negotiation over the debt ceiling, because we've got worries now on Wall Street about this. TD Cowen this morning is writing this. The Congress is on recess this week, but next week is likely to see the debt ceiling return to the headlines given the tax day, April 18th, as well as the House GOP plan forward, given a number of press reports over the past week highlighting the internal disagreements on policies and personalities. Do you have a plan in terms of the debt ceiling debate, and will you be talking about that next week, Congressman?
Absolutely, Maria. House Republicans have been working for a long time to address this fiscal insanity. We've been trying to partner with President Biden, but unfortunately, President Biden and his administration has had very reckless behavior. They have been refusing to negotiate with Speaker McCarthy and myself about what are the steps, what are the solutions to increase the debt limit, but also address the fiscal insanity. The American people are demanding fiscal accountability in government, and they don't want a blank check of just more spending in Washington. So the White House has to come to the table. But you know what? House Republicans are willing and able to move ahead on our own, even if this White House refuses to help move this country forward when it comes to a debt limit.
So what are you going to present, Congressman? Is the base case a version of Senator Romney's Trust Act, which would kick the debt deficit to rescue committee later in 2023, along with some deficit measures around the unobligated COVID-19 money? Is that the plan? Is it a very short-term raise to align with the October 1st government fight?
House Republicans are looking at a plan that will address the fiscal insanity, and that entails limiting this crazy spending, capping the spending, and growing the economy. Those are the three items that have to be in the middle of this plan. This is our focus. We're looking at numerous items, whether it's spending caps, whether it's taking back unobligated COVID dollars. There's over $70 billion still left in unobligated money, or whether it's making sure that we're addressing work requirements when it comes to able-bodied, healthy adults to help address the labor shortage that is crushing our economy right now.
Well, look, I think markets want to hear your plans, but they also want answers on the IRS, Congressman. I mean, the IRS is releasing a plan to spend that allocated $80 billion with critical details missing. The agency claims that its funding provided in the Inflation Reduction Act will go toward hiring 30,000 new employees. Is that 30,000 new IRS agents? Congressman, I thought that you and your colleagues were able to rescind that money. I know it was signed into law in the Inflation Reduction Act, but where does this stand in terms of the Republicans stopping the Biden administration from sicking 80,000 IRS agents on us?
Maria, 8 months ago, House Democrats, the White House, they passed the Inflation Reduction Act, this $80 billion for the IRS. And we've been waiting for a plan. What they released last week was not a plan. It was simply a punt because they don't want the American people to see their true focus of what they're wanting to do. They did highlight that they're going to hire 30,000 more employees over the next 2 years, but they didn't say what they're doing over the next 10. If you are hiring 30,000 employees over the next 2 years, that's more than a third of the 87,000 they're originally supposed to hire over 10. And then they're not even talking about the audits. They keep saying that they're not going to target people making less than $400,000 a year, but that's simply not true. You also have to listen to their words. They're saying they're going to go back to the historic audit levels, which if you go back to 2010, that means 710,000 new audits for people making less than $75,000 a year. That's not what working class Americans need, Maria.
Wow, that's incredible. Congressman, real quick before you go, is June 5th the X date? Is that the date when the debt ceiling must be raised, or is it beyond that?
The X date will be decided by Secretary Yellen. That's what the markets will go with. And what date she says will be the date. They said at the beginning, June 1st. I believe that after May 9th, basically looking at the tax receipts coming in, we'll be able to determine, will it be mid-June or could it be late July or August?
Okay, we'll leave it there. Congressman, I know you've got a lot that you are leading, and we will be watching. We appreciate your time this morning. Thank you, sir.